Hungry Trilobyte Podcast would like to start by acknowledging these fine conventions.
SoonerCon. Central Oklahoma's longest-running pop culture convention is back. SoonerCon 31 is scheduled for June 30th through July 2nd, 2023, in Norman, Oklahoma. It promises a weekend full of tabletop gaming, cosplay, and appreciation for literary sci-fi as well as TV and comics. Visit SoonerCon.com for more information. The Hellmouth Convention. The Hellmouth Convention is designed by fans for fans, with the aim of harnessing the power of fandom to raise money for charities. The Hellmouth Convention celebrates all fandoms, but particularly things like Buffy, Firefly, and Dr. Horrible. Like the Hellmouth itself, things gravitate toward it that you may not find anywhere else. The next event is scheduled for June 9th through 11th, 2023, in Los Angeles, California.
On tap today, we have Marc Morales back from the studio. How you doing?
I am doing well. How are you?
Doing great. The last time we talked, you had just embarked on a filmmaking journey, and you sent me a text not too long ago saying, hey, we've got some big news going on. This is, things have changed. I'm kind of curious to see what's going on with you.
Oh, well, yeah, we were making 521 North Main Street. We finished making 521 North Main Street. Once we got the trailer, which was about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I sent you a copy of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole goal was, we weren't sure what we were going to do. We didn't know if we had enough footage or whatever, but we took what we had, we sent it to an editor, and they looked it over and they cut a really nice trailer for us. So we saw the trailer, we're like, okay, I think it looks good. And we all went through it, and we spoke with the people who edited the trailer, which is Excelsior Studios, which are wonderful people. Laura Ann and Jack right now are working on it. And we liked what they did with the trailer. So we decided, hey, if you guys want, would you like to cut this entire film for us? And they were like, yes, we'll do that. So we liked the way that we did what they did with the trailer. And I just got off the phone with Jack a little while ago talking about, clips from the movie and stuff like that. And he said, you are the two to make this movie for us, because they seem to understand it well and they get it and they ask a lot of questions. That's the most important thing. Just don't like handing things to people and they're like, oh, we got it from here, and they walk away with it. It's like, no, you need to ask me questions so we're all on the same page. So yeah, as of right now, 521 North Main Street is being edited, and hopefully 6 months we'll have our finished product.
So the shooting is completely done.
Completely done.
You're confident that you have enough to make a film out of this.
Yes.
That's kind of what I heard in that.
That exactly. We weren't sure at first, we're first-time filmmakers. In my mind, I'm like, oh, I don't know what we did. I haven't seen the footage. So we sent them everything. And like I said, they cut a trailer for us and talked to them. And they said, you have enough here for your movie. You have more than enough here for your movie. So we said, great, I'm not going to worry about it anymore. We're just going to hand it over to you guys. And let's just see what we get.
And the situation you're in now is not that unique, even though you first time filmmakers, you might feel that maybe it's a bit of a risk. You're not sure if you're ready to go. You're not sure if you can't tweak it a little bit, but you're giving it to people who know what they're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's almost as if I look at them as surgeons. It's like, okay, I really don't know what to do with this. Can you make heads and tails of it? And they looked and they're like, absolutely. There's a lot here that we can work with. And they asked some really important questions like, what are you looking for here? And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm looking for this. Or, are these colors the ones you want? Do you want anything brighter? Do you want? So they're asking all the right questions. It's almost like taking your car in, and instead of someone just working on your car, they're going to ask you what's wrong with it. Or a better example, you're sick, you go into a doctor, doctor's going to ask you a lot of questions to figure out what's wrong with you and how to make you better. And that's what they're doing with our film. They're taking it and they're looking through it and saying, okay, yeah, you got this to work with, and we have this. Yeah, and this does make sense. And their questions I ask, like, scene 5 is supposed to be there. And they're like, yeah, that's what's there. That's what you made. It's all there. So it's really about having a little confidence in yourself, because like I said, I went into it blind. I had no idea what we were going to end up with. But listening to Laura Ann and Jack talk about it, they're like, yeah, no, you're right on the right path. We're good. You definitely have your movie here, and we can make it. So
when
it's all for them.
You have this big stack of footage in whatever format it happens to be in, and are you giving them like a copy of the shooting script too?
Oh, they have everything. They have the script. They have every note. They have more than one copy of the film. So that, like, maybe is there anything else that's missing? I'm like, no, that's everything. So they're like, okay, send us everything you have. So yeah, we're all on the same page. So they have every little piece of it.
My thought was, I was curious as to whether they're could conceivably take the leeway to swap some scenes around, play with some dialogue. Really,
I'm so sorry. They don't have to swap any scenes. It's all pretty much there for them. I just didn't have the confidence that it was there. But when they pointed it all out, they're like, yeah, that's there. That's there. Yes, that is exactly what you're looking for. That's the way it was shot. That's what you were looking for. That's what's there, Mark. I'm like, all right, that is wonderful. So as far as dialogue, I don't think they'd have to take something from over here and put it in over here to make it work. It's all there. It's just a matter of how we want it cut, what we're looking for. Maybe there's not a close-up, but I was told all of a sudden, you don't need to have a close-up. That can be added in during editing. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know that. That's great. So they're like, yeah, we can work magic for you.
Having pictures of Homer Simpson saying, and star wipe.
And star wipe, there you go.
Yes.
Scene. Yeah, all those good little things. And they get the comedy part, which is the most important thing, because when I wrote the film, it was supposed to be 80% horror, 20% comedy. And that's what they always say is the perfect blend. So that's what I was trying to get. And these guys were like, hey, yeah, this is pretty funny too. I'm like, oh, you found the comedy? They're like, yeah, it's right there. I'm like, oh, okay, great. Just as long as it's coming through. So they're like, yeah, there's a lot to work with here, man. So I'm feeling confident in them, very confident.
I'm glad to hear that. And it's very difficult to get to this point where you can just release it to the four winds and get back something that you're proud of there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I said before that, it was just all stress. It was like, we don't know. I was just happy that we got through shooting, so I'm like, okay. And everyone's sitting there like, that's all if you could make it to the end of your movie, that's all that matters. So many people, I heard this so many times. So many people start movies and they never finish them. So I'm like, okay, that's great. But I want something, I want to finish it, and I want the product after. And that's what we're getting. And we're very lucky about it.
I was pretty confident you get here, if only for one reason, is that you actually hit the record button. And that seems to be the stumbling block I've seen for a lot of people, is they will endlessly dicker around with a script. They will scout locations. They will call their friends in to see who can actually act in the movie but to actually get everything together in front of the camera and start the process, so many people never get to that point.
Yeah, I was like, points, it got stressful, like everything gets stressful. And you're just like, that's it. I'm going to shit can everything. I'm not going through this anymore. No one cares. But that's just a lot of bullshit. You're just angry at yourself and for other reasons and whatever else going on. But there was a core group of people around me that were just like, you keep your head down. You got this. We got this. We're going to get through it no matter what, no matter who says what or what goes on or what's broken now or what's not working over here. It happens. It's all part of it. Just keep your head down and keep focus. And that's it. And it was hard at times, and but in the end, that was the goal, was to make the movie, get it done. That is it. Get the movie done. Just like we spent a year of our lives, make a movie, and that is it. And that's what we tried to do, and that's what we got.
When you're in these moments, the red zone, the stress points, the I'm going to give up moments, is there a certain cinematic, I don't want to use the word hero, but a certain cinematic guide you'd use to lean on a little bit mentally?
What got me through Well, first, I was very fortunate to have Sergio Guerrero there, our special effects guy who basically speaks, walks and talks horror movies. We shot the entire thing on a soundstage. His studio was part of that soundstage. And I had worked with Sergio on another project before this, so I trust Sergio. And so there were those times when, now, like I said, I was ready to give up. I would just walk through the studio, find Sergio, and not bother him, just because he was always working on something. I would just camp out. I would just sit there and just watch him work and see what he was doing, and seeing that. And he would like give me a look like, "You good?" I'm like, "I'm good. This is, if I can sit here with you and watch you work, that's going to inspire me to go back out there and work and get my shit done, because I'm watching you put everything into it. So I need to put everything into it because I want to display your work and you want to display my work. So that's what we're doing." And it's the same thing with, the makeup people and the costume. I'd watch these people just go out of their way and just, they weren't just costuming. Our costumer, you didn't just give her a shirt and say, "Okay, put this on that person." She took that shirt and she was like, "Can I cut this up? Because I think the character would look better." It's like, oh my God, create, absolutely. And it was those people that were doing those things. And I'm like, yeah, they're taking the time. They're here too. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. I want to display that person's work. They want to make the movie look good. I want to make the movie look good for them. And that was the drive. It's almost like when you go skateboarding. Have you ever been skateboarding? You see other people doing it and you're being inspired to do better. You're going to get that better kickflip up or something else because you're being inspired by that next person. And that's how it was for me. It was just inspiration from a group of people around me. And that kept me going.
You pulled it from the actual crew you were working with. You didn't have a little bracelet that said, "What would Ed Wood do?"
Oh, no, I would, what was my big thing? There was a show on Netflix called The Movies That Made Us. You ever watched that?
Mm-hmm.
There's a great show. And those were great to watch because they covered movies like Halloween and Alien. And these were all movies that inspired me. So I'd sit there and after a long day, I'd, get back to the Airbnb and sit there and I turn that on and say, "Okay, what did John Carpenter go through, to make Halloween? What were the bad things? Was my date worse than John Carpenter's worst day was, and or James Cameron on Aliens, I'm like, how bad was it for him, because it had to be worse than what I went through today, but he still made his movie. They made these great movies. What drives them? So that little inspiration like that came from there. So from the people around me and Netflix, the movies that made us. That's what pushed.
Neat dig there. I like that. It's good inspiration to take there.
Yeah.
But I just think it's pretty cool that you would reach and you are so inspired to show the work of the people around you there, and you're recognizing the contributions they're making.
Well, there isn't anything without them. I'm just I wrote it. So what? Okay, here's a script. Now, how am I going to make these people come alive? They have to sound a certain way. They have to look a certain way. They have to dress a certain way. In my mind, I'm like, all right, this character has jeans and an army jacket. But that's just surface. You give it to that costume designer, she's going to take it to the next level. She's like, all right, can I put a patch on this jacket? Why would this character have a patch on his jacket? Where's this character coming from? Would they have a tear in their jean? I'm like, I didn't even think about this. But there they are, simple costume. They're turning it into something bigger because they're creating life to it
with the resources they have available.
Exactly.
That's what I love about independent film, is that it's always no problem is solved by throwing money at it.
No. And especially when you don't have it.
Yeah.
Especially when you don't have it and you need people that are going to really work hard around you. Like, who was great? Hair and makeup. The hair. I would sit there watching the monitor and there were two hair people, makeup people on set, and they would be standing right next to me. And all of a sudden, one of them would just be staring. I'm like, what do you see? And she was like, that piece of hair is out. a place on that actor. And I'm like, holy cow. And I'm like, what do we do? And she's like, I'm like, what would you do? She's like, well, I want perfection, so stop it. So right there, cut it. You go do your work, get out there, make it better. And they'd go out and, you know, take 5 minutes, 6 minutes to get that piece of hair down. And it made the scene better because you weren't sitting there looking at a piece of hair going, oh, how come that actor didn't someone come out and comb that actor's hair? You know, they're on it. It's just all these little things. It's pretty cool. It's pretty, like I said, I've never watched stuff like that. I never paid attention to that before, but it was a whole nother level, just a whole nother level.
So when it comes to the audience that you're looking to get to, who's the first group of people that you're really looking to show this to?
14-year-olds, just like
Nice.
that
Good
is
call.
it. It's the 14-year-old, the 13-year-old. It's the kids. It's the kids. You know, I'm 51. Halloween came out. Actually, how Friday the 13th was maybe like 12 when that came out. So I was a 12-year-old kid. That's what I'm going to look for. I'm going to look for the core audience. Those 14-year-olds. It's not for me. The movie's not for me. So, you know, I have nephews, I have nieces. I call them up. I ask them questions. I'm like, hey guys, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? I can't wait to show them the trailer just to see what they're going to say and let their friends see the trailer also. But that is our core.
Going to ask you a plot question here. And
Okay.
if you can't go this route because it gives away too much or it's just not relevant, that's okay.
Go ahead.
But I got to throw it out there because it's the one thing that always looks at with modern horror movies. You got to get around the fact that it's usually not as big of a challenge if they have a cell phone handy. You got to take the cell phone out of their hand somehow. How do you do it?
You don't just live it. You just change everything around them.
Okay.
What if the cell phone doesn't work anymore?
That works. That does the job.
Yeah. That's their whole thing is I'm not going to give anything away. They end up going to hell. You know, it doesn't look like what we would perceive hell to be, but they end up in hell, but everything just looks the same to them. So their phones aren't going to work and stuff like that. Everything looks the same, but when they go to the simple thing of, oh, let me make a phone call to save us. How come my phone doesn't work? Because you're not, there's no cellular service. You're not there anymore. You're not in a world where phones work. You're not in a world where TVs work. It all looks the same, but it's just different. So boom. No more phones, none of that. And you guys are stuck. Figure it out. How are you going to get out?
That's a good way around it. I like that. I like that a lot.
So, yeah. At one point, I remember on this set, someone was like, don't you have to show that the cell phones aren't working? Don't we need a close-up? I'm like, no, you don't need a close-up of a cell phone not working. If someone's like, my cell phone doesn't work, I'm not going to go over to you going, really? I don't believe you. Let me see it.
Yeah, no, that's
no, I'm going to take it. Oh, okay. Mine doesn't work. Does yours work? No. No one's phone works. Boom. Done.
one line of dialogue takes care of that. That's a no-brainer, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that was it for me. And I just didn't want to go there because in so many other horror, it's show the cell phone not working. It's why? I mean, I get it. My choice was no, it's not about that. You know, these people are stuck here. And that's what it's not about. Because really, when in a movie, when they cut to a cell phone for the most part, and they show you that it's not working, we get to see, oh, it's an Apple phone or it's an iPhone. You know, it's advertising at that point. So I'm like, you know, nobody else is paying for this movie except, you know, for Bill Pohl. And we don't have to advertise for Bill Pohl. So I'm not going to show, you know, cellular phones and this and that. You know, I'm not going to give anyone free advertisement.
Now, in my opinion, it's noticeable if you don't mention it at all. The second anything addresses it, you just move on.
Right. That was it. So yeah, it was why, you know, make a phone call. That's the obvious thing to do. It's not working. Mine's not working either. Okay, great. No phones are working. And boom, we move on to the next step.
It's one of those things where I'm wondering now, you're at the end of the gate here.
Uh-huh.
Your part's done. You passed it off to the pros. Does what you're about to turn in resemble what you had in mind when you first started the script?
An original script to 521 North Main Street was called actually The Clown Motel. This script, no. This script, the script that the editor has is even different than the final product that we shot. They're like, where's this? I'm like, that's in the perfect world. That's where everything went well. and write, and that would have been that script, but that's not there anymore, and this isn't there. And they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, you have to adjust for certain things. But as long, I'm so sorry, dogs are barking. But I am happy with what we have, what we shot at that point, at that time. It was like, we had to think on the fly, but it's like, okay, this is what we're shooting instead of this. So, I am happy with what we shot instead of, because I'm trying to make sense here. What am I trying to say? Even though if it wasn't in the script, what we shot instead, I was happy with. It wasn't like, oh, I can't do it. All right, well, just have them walk down the street. That's it. Okay, that's what I'm stuck with. That's what I'm stuck with. It wasn't like that. It was like, all right, I can't do that. Well, they just can't walk down the street. I have to find something else and make it look just as good as what I had before. It's got to be something else. It's not just, well, they weren't here. Okay, that's it. We got to do it this way then. That's what we have. That's what we have to work with. No, a little thought went into it first. And I'm like, okay, am I happy with this shot? That's the shot I'm going to be happy with. That's what we're going to go with. So let's go with that.
Let's take it another direction here. Let's say you're talking to another filmmaker who's in the same boat here.
Okay.
They have a hard drive full of footage and a couple versions of the script, and it's like 95% of the way there. What's your advice to them?
Are they finished shooting, you said?
Let's say they are in this hypothetical. Shooting?
What do I say? And they have 95%?
Well, I'm picking a number.
I'm saying that.
Thinking that there's always something else you might want to do, but
there's always going to be something else you want to do. Right. Just like in a relationship. It's like, oh, if I would have did this, I would have just got to be happy with what you have in the end. There was a scene in the script where it was going to be this huge thing where someone actually turns into a clown. They were going to have stuff grown out of their arms. It was this huge, it was a big part of the movie. But then it came down to, well, we're not going to have time to shoot that, or we're not going to have time to shoot it the way you want, or this or that, or the person's not going to get in that makeup. So now it's like, oh, okay, this was a big chunk. What are we going to do now? So like, we're going to have to compromise. We're going to have to find another way. We're going to have to make it smaller, but still cool. And, like I said, there are always going to be problems. You just got to figure out to navigate around them somehow. And hopefully it's going to work.
And you go back in a time machine 2 years to when you first thought, hey, this might be a good idea. Do you tell yourself to do it?
Yeah, I do it again. Absolutely. Absolutely. When we finish this film, honestly, if I had put all the money up, I would have been like, that's it, doing it all over again. Doing it from scratch, going in, rehiring, keeping this, getting rid of this, and just going to do it all again. That was my mindset. But, once I calmed down and, like I said, editors got to it and they're like, okay, you need to chill out. You're fine. What you have is fine. It might not have been what you went in there with in your mind, but what you came out with, you are fine. There's enough here to work with, and it's good. It's good. Your story's here. People are laughing here. This is working here. I mean, we sat down, the producer, we sat down, we watched that trailer, and I think tears came to our eyes. We was like, oh my God, we did something. Really, all the fighting, all the anger. I mean, wow, we have something to work with. And we were just like, it was like Christmas for us. We were so happy, and we're like happy as pigs in shit right now that we have a wonderful editor and that we're going to have a wonderful product to be proud of and to show people, and hopefully to go make another movie.
Sweet. Now you're saying it's about 6 months out from being an actual finished product.
Yeah.
Which is understandable. It's a completely reasonable timeline. Mm-hmm. But the people listening now are probably going to want to at least put a pin in that and say, where can I keep tabs on this? How can I hope to find it? Do we have a method of distribution even thought of right now?
No, well, we're going website first. So soon our website's going to be built up. He's working on it right now. He's got the trailer up there. He wants to do a preliminary release of the website in like a week. So we'll have that. We're constantly going out to different skate parks, because all about skateboarding. Love skateboarding. So we talk to skateboarders. We just did. Jen, when did we do an event? A few months ago in Brushy Creek, out here in Texas. We helped sponsor a skateboarding event there, and when we're there, we constantly push the film. We tell people this is what we do. We're High Five Enhanced Productions. We made 521 North Main Street. It's a horror film. We're having skate decks built for skateboards with the logo of the demon clowns on them. So we're going to go out and hand those out to people at skate parks. We're just one big little promotional thing.
That's
Just keep on pushing it out.
I like the skateboards a lot. That's pretty cool.
But yeah, we're all about skateboards right now. Our executive producer's like, we're not going to start selling skateboards, are we? I'm like, no, we're not. I'm like, but that's what we're into. And skateboarding is just pure rock and roll. It's fun. And that's what the movie is. It's just this exciting little fun trip, this little ride. And yeah, it's like a punk song.
So you got the High Five Enhanced website.
Yeah.
Do you have one specific for the movie?
No, it's just going to all be off of High Five Enhanced.
So we'll stick there. We'll get the.
Yeah, if you go on YouTube, I think High Five Enhanced has a YouTube channel. Someone called me like, just saw your trailer on YouTube. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, on your High Five Enhanced YouTube channel. I'm like, I have a High Five Enhanced YouTube channel? They're like, yeah, Mark. They're like, so it's on there. But
And
yeah,
so somebody wants to get into this, they can see if you have a streaming deal, if you're in a film festival, if you have a physical media coming out, that news is going to be on the site eventually.
that's all going to be on the site. That
Sweet.
is all going to be on the site. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, man, thank you.
I'm really stoked about it. So you have an audience built in with me already.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, we're trying. Like I said, a lot of people worked hard on this, and there's great special effects that are going to be just amazing. I love the people that I worked with. Like Sergio Guerrero, my special effects guy. I give my right arm for him. He's phenomenal. I'm a fan of him. He would come up with things and go, hey, is this going to work? And I would just sit there like in awe. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so lucky to have you. This is going to be in the movie. He's like, if you want it. I'm like, that's great. Thank you. Thank you so much. And these are, like I said, these are the people that pushed and got me through things along with our executive producer, our other producer, my girlfriend, she was a big help too. Jennifer Clark sitting there going on the phone because she wasn't on set. I was away from home for like over a month. She'd be the one catching the shit. And all she would say is, keep your head down. You and Sergio, keep your heads down and cross the finish line. That's it. Keep your heads down and cross the finish line. And she's like, and it's all worth it. And she was right. Keep the head down. Don't get distracted by a lot of bullshit, even though it's really hard. And finish it. Finish what you started. That's it,
My advice is hit record. Your advice is keep your head down across the finish line. I think that's pretty awesome.
That's it. Hit record, keep your head down. Because in the end, it's just bullshit. It's just all bullshit around you. Why are you here? What, are you here for bullshit? Or are you here to do a job? We're here to do a job. That's it. My parents birthed me to make a movie, and here I am, and I wasn't going to let anyone stop us.
I'm going to put everything we talked about on the show notes on my website, aaronbostic.com, trying to fast track people to check out your stuff.
Awesome.
And
man.
when
Thank
it
you.
finally does come out, ping me, and I will do as much as I can help to promote it.
All right. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you for everything. Thank you for putting me on your show tonight. And thank you for promoting. Thank you for believing. Thank you for
Absolutely,
supporting.
man. Thanks for doing what you do.
Hey, man. Thank you so much. Anytime. And hopefully we'll get a part 2. And this one will shoot at the Clown Motel.
All right.
Figure it out. All right, man.
Have a good night.
You too, brother. Thank you.